This whole situation is ridiculous. Hey guys, welcome to another episode on Exurb1a, aka Alex from the UK. Today we're going to cover a brief history on Exurb1a's now famous Experiment A, aka Pi, Exurb1a's claims to PhD fantasies and Stephen Fry, lovely new footage of Exurb1a being extremely kind to Pi, me analyzing his losing you apology video, and new testimony from an old friend of Exurb1a's about Pi, legal trouble, and the imaginary child support that he fears he may have to pay her in the future. For those of you who know nothing about this situation, I'll give you the cliff notes. See the links in the description if you want to go down this rabbit hole. Long story short, Alex and Pi met in 2016 on YouTube. They began a relationship after he lured her to Bulgaria to collaborate with him and, among other things, participate in an experiment, as well as a documentary that she would make about it.
Oh, is this for the documentary?
Maybe.
I'll give you some for the documentary. Make a documentary.
He used a bunch of lies to achieve this, and I have some examples. I'd shared before that he'd claimed that he'd worked at the Large Hadron Collider, aka CERN, on an experiment. He also told Pi that Stephen Fry wanted to work with him, trying to paint himself as a serious collaborator to work with. Let's hear what journalist Vivek Rajkawa has to say about this.
On the Stephen Fry point, because as an investigative journalist, I wanted to dot my I's and cross my T's, I reached out to Stephen Fry's agency, and they were very, very insistent that, you know, no one with Exurb1a's actual name or with his YouTube handle had ever worked with Stephen Fry, had ever been considered as a collaborator with Stephen Fry, or had even, you know, been reached out to, or had even reached out to them. And they were very, very clear about that. And I know that when Pi and I were working on, you know, confirming a few things regarding the his lies about CERN, again, they were very clear that no one with Exurb1a's name, details had ever worked on that project, and they were very clear. They provided email receipts, everything.
In order to make Pi trust him even more, he falsely told her that he was a PhD student. He even told this to his patrons on Patreon, where YouTuber Kurgnizakt, or in a nutshell, responded to it. But in the case of Pi, he actually took her to Sophia University, where he'd claimed that he was getting his PhD. He'd show her around and she would believe his story. Professor Gungov of said university has since called out the lies that Alex told. The truth was, he'd never even finished his master's at Sophia University.
There were times where I believe Pi was visiting him where he would say, I need to go off to university. And I know that when we reached out to the university and we got in touch with the man who was the head of the department at the time Alex was supposed to have been doing his PhD, we got confirmation that, yes, he was enrolled as a student there, but that, you know, he had not submitted any work. And I think his attendance record was atrocious. It seems like Alex has a habit of creating these elaborate lies to women. And it seems like he has a type he likes to go for. You know, women who are very autistic, women who are very, you know, I guess, in touch with their feelings, who feel deeply, essentially, if you get what I mean. And you know, women who may have experienced trauma in the past, and they bond over this, over shared trauma and everything. And I've spoken to some of the women who have been involved with him in the past, and there is a pattern there. And the only thing I would say is that he is a very dangerous man.
Now, I don't recommend lying to someone so they meet you. This is known as deception. And can any intimacy that happens during a relationship with this much deception ever be truly consensual? I'll let you munch on that one, Alex, but I'm sure you already know the answer already. One strange thing that he told Pi when they met is that he would lose respect for people who would sleep with him. He would say they couldn't possibly know me, and if they did, they wouldn't have done so. I just found that one kind of strange. But another lie Alex told was of a promise of a real synchronicity experiment. What Pi didn't know is that she was the experiment. So you shouldn't ask, what is Experiment A? Rather, who is Experiment A? Alex's lie during the experiment was that they would capture synchronicities, meaningful coincidences. But Alex would manipulate Pi, fake synchronicities, and make her believe these coincidences were chasing her. Initially, this manipulation influenced Pi to fall in love with Exurb1a. She felt like the universe had brought her a soulmate because all these coincidences pointed back to Alex, as if the two of them had this bizarre connection. And this is where Alex wanted Pi to be. As his now girlfriend, Pi was in a very vulnerable position. If you don't remember, Pi is autistic. She hyperfixates and gets obsessed with patterns. Alex didn't just love her, he made her believe that the universe was in on it. This is the most dangerous kind of manipulation for someone who recognizes patterns so intuitively. Ultimately, Pi was committed to the hospital after many severe breakdowns and different forms of abuse. Pi had become unwell, suicidal, suffering from nightmares and panic attacks. She had become convinced that the world was dissolving and that coincidences were chasing her. Pi had believed that she was part of a real synchronicity experiment in pursuit of figuring out what synchronicity was and seeing if it could be harnessed. But this wasn't science. This was simply manipulation in a turtle shell. When Pi was in the hospital, Exurb1a didn't stop the experiment. He didn't tell her that he'd been manipulating her. In fact, he continued sharing manipulated synchronicities and coincidences while she was in there. Pi was in the hospital for almost a year. Now, I never mentioned this for privacy's sake, but what you should know about Pi is she has a disabled child. He had to live without his mother all that time, instead staying with his grandparents while she was away. The worst part is, Alex met her child, and he still continued, even when he knew he was the reason she'd become suicidal. Now, obviously, Alex has a lot to apologize for, and he never did. And I have a list of necessary apologies that he should make that I've been sitting on for a while. Allow me to show you another thing that he should have apologized for years ago. When Pi was in the hospital because of this man's cosmic level abuse, she told him that she'd spoke to her doctors about him. They had asked for information regarding the stuff that Exurb1a had done and told her to find out why she'd become so unstable. This is standard protocol for hospital staff. But what did Exurb1a do? He called her a bully for speaking to her doctors about him. Pi even explained to Exurb1a that there's such a thing as patient confidentiality, but screw that, huh, Exurb1a? Why should anyone be allowed to speak to their doctors after you messed them up? But instead of me telling you this story, why don't we just let Alex fill in the details?
I know you don't give a shit about privacy. This is the one thing that matters to me. I'm way more of a private person than you are. Like, way more. Maybe I'm ashamed of shit, or I don't know, but it's not your right to fucking use it against me. It's not your right to use it against me, and that's exactly what you're doing, just trying to use my own privacy against me. And you're just doing it with like this. I don't care if they're doctors. I would never. I've just seen you. I don't care what you're going to make public. It's just you seem to like doing this. Stop telling people about my shit. It's my life. Being abused or not, it's my life. Stop telling people about my life.
Yeah. That was Alex telling Pi to stop speaking to professionals. Let's replay that legendary moment.
Like this I don't care if they're doctors.
This guy hits us with the, I don't care if they're doctors. Next he's gonna be like, I don't care if it's just a backpack. Jump out of the goddamn plane. And this is the part I love the most. Exurb1a spends this whole conversation talking about how Pi wants to make things public, while simultaneously telling her he doesn't care if she makes things public, while also accusing her of liking making things public. And then, a few hours later, he suggests in a Skype chat that Pi should make a documentary about this. So Exurb1a's like, don't tell anyone, but also, I don't care. But also, I know you want to. But also, maybe you should. But also, please don't. But also, this would be great film material. Sir, please pick one personality and stick with it. It was at this point I was wondering what the end goal looked like in Exurb1a's head here. So yeah, here's Exurb1a, the nice guy.
Hey, I don't do this very often, especially not sober, but I just felt this need to say that I love the shit out of you and that I'm more excited than I can say to actually see you soon. And the cat is too, and we will, huh? Hey, I miss you too, Pi. Of course I do. I always do, to be honest. I'm usually thinking about you, whatever I'm doing. Yeah, of course I miss you too. And of course I want you here, and most of the time I'm thinking about how I'll actually get to see you again. And actually get to hold you again, to be honest. So yeah, of course I miss you too. Don't beat yourself up about the audio. Like I said, I'll just sort this out. I can sort out half of this. It's not a huge problem. I'm gonna put the new video up probably tomorrow or Sunday or whatever, and I'll have loads of time to sort that out. So, hey, yeah, no, I love you and I miss you too.
And then there's Alex.
Like, this the fucking. I don't care if they're doctors.
Does that make sense to anyone? No? Good. Your brain works. This guy thinks that the love of his life, Pi, being in the hospital because of him, is great film material. What is the logic behind that, Exurb1a? Is it perhaps you want to be called out? Like you told her back then, you like it when women call you on your bullshit. Was it worth your relationship with Pi, the woman you called the one? Why? Because you want more traffic for your sci-fi books? Now, you might wonder, Barry, why are you bringing this up now? Why not just leave this alone and go on with your life? And honestly, that's what I was gonna do. But Alex started poking the bear again. It seems that Exurb1a still watches Pi very closely. He subtly whines about it when she disappears from the internet and doesn't give him any attention, and I think he wants us to know. But my god, if she does give him attention, he will ignore her until she quiets down, and then he comes back, stinging you like that mosquito you just cannot squitch. You wanna know what I'm talking about, huh? Well, Exurb1a, the turtle mastermind, has been resonating some things in his videos that Pi has shared throughout the years. He's hidden Pi in his videos when he makes subtle confessions, and I'm not the only one who noticed this. Shout out to Trip Astronaut who brought attention to this on Reddit and on YouTube. Exurb1a thinks he's good at hiding it too, using metaphors and allegories because he loves his little turtle mindfuck games. He thinks he's really clever about it, like you gotta be a genius to figure it out, but really, you just require a little context and it's clear as day. The question I started asking myself was, does Exurb1a not realize how obvious he's become? Or does he want people to start figuring this out? So how do we see this pattern exactly? Here's a quick timeline so that you can see the pattern yourself. It's complex, so watch closely. When Pi released a video called "So This Will Be Experiment A and It Starts Today," it showed chat conversations about the experiment. About 2 weeks later, Alex made a video called Dear Nia. It's about a female scientist who conducts an experiment. Nia plays around with her husband Soren in other universes. Exurb1a puts on a dress in this video, subtly confessing to his experiment via an allegory. And he does this more than once, as you'll find out later. He makes the women in his stories the villain, pretty much every time, while those women are actually following in his real-life events. So Pi then replies to Alex's Dear Nia video with her own video, Dear Soren, to call him out for it. She shows audio messages where Alex can be heard talking about starting YouTube drama. There are bits of the video where you can hear him talking about how much he loves her. And then there are bits where you can hear them talking about the abuse and how upset he is when Pi breaks off the relationship. After this, Pi releases a poem, Slow Death, which is about the two sides of Alex and the two sides of her. So 4 people in total. In this poem, Pi wonders what would happen after Exurb1a falls from the sky and spits the truths he still cannot say. She asked him to do some very specific stuff when he finally asked for forgiveness. Remember this video and those 4 people, because all of this becomes very important in 2025, and I'll get to that very soon. Pi at the very same time released her poem All Those Days, where she explicitly states allegories, metaphors, codes, trying to essentially tell everyone what to look for when watching Exurb1a's videos. I then responded to all Pi and Exurb1a's videos with my own video, Dear Exurb1a, where I showed the first audio evidence of Experiment A. I also reached out to Exurb1a and asked him if he would be willing to participate in a documentary about forgiveness. He didn't reply, but I had a good feeling that he would at some point, just not to me, but again in a shady way to Pi, through his metaphors and characters. And guess what? He did it. Took him 4 years, but you gotta remember, turtles move slow. However, the video is here. It's called Losing You, and it points straight back to Pi. If you know her poetry work, blogs, past tweets, and conversations between herself and Alex, it's pretty easy to see. And since I do know all of them, I don't mind showing you as well. Just like in the poem Slow Death, there are 4 main characters in Exurb1a's Losing You video. There are 4 orbs called Raya, Splosh, Decagon, and Parabola.
Parabola, herself just as tired of limitlessness. The only 2 citizens of Utopia who yearned for dirt instead.
Let's cut in here for a second. The only citizens who yearn for dirt? Isn't Pi's website called Photo and Grime? And didn't you ask her what the grime stood for? She mentioned it means dirt, huh? Let's move on.
It never occurred to them to pretend they didn't belong together. She was him if he had been built properly. He the scribble, she the novel.
Exurb1a. Let me quote you back what you wrote to Pi all those years ago. Because I understand you, and because you're not only an incredible screw, but your soul is very beautiful, and sometimes you show it to me, and I feel like one of only a few humans alive who's been lucky enough to see it. You're one of me, and I am you too, and it's impossible not to want to be close to you when you really realize that. Now I'm gonna kill it. I'm just gonna kill it. Uncharacteristically heavy for me, and for a morning, but it was something that had to be said. Period.
She was impossibly clever where he was only curious, kind where he was indifferent.
You sort of embody most of the good things in life for me. The pure, clean kindness of good humans. The rageous authenticity of creativity. The wild fervor of now. Nothing means anything. But I'm glad as hell you do.
And then the bickering, then the arguments, the accusations she didn't love him, all the bitter jealousy of her ambitions he was sure he would never let out, and let out anyway. Then a long silence, then the long silence, and she was gone. Don't pity me, Decagon said. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. All my fault. My fault.
The one called Parabola is the one that Exurb1a goes to as a character called Decagon. Decagon goes to Parabola for forgiveness after accusations and a long silence. Decagon says that he loves Parabola, and asks if there's a universe where she could be reckless enough to love him again too. At the end, he talks about singing a song, and the song Losing You plays. Back to Pi's 2021 poem Slow Death, let's listen to what she actually says.
Sometimes I wonder what happens after you fall down the sky straight into disaster. When I spring from the nights and bleed into your day. When you spit out the truths you still cannot see.
Now guess what happens in Losing You? The character Raya falls from the sky. After that, Decagon spits his truths. Let's listen to the bit about Raya where Splosh asks her about it.
Can I ask a question? Splosh said. No, Raya said. Why did you fall from the sky? Were you sad about something? I'm only happy when I'm looking forward to something. And the only thing I look forward to is the next thing I'd like to make. And when I can't make anything, I'm nothing. Is that why you opened your vents and fell to the sea? He asked. She didn't reply.
Now this is a bit of a smaller thing, but an interesting thing about the character Raya. Her name means friend.
Raya, she said. It means friend, but don't get any ideas. I could disassemble you, you know, she murmured. Take you to pieces, get the coordinates that way. But you wouldn't, he said. We're friends. Raya means friend.
Now why is this friend thing important? Because back in 2016, Pi wrote a poem to Exurb1a called Letter to a Friend. Friend was a metaphor at the time for Alex. He now, in 2025, uses the same metaphor as a reference to Pi. He is Raya in this Losing You video, just like he switched genders in the Dear Nia video that he made. Also, in a 2023 blog, Pi made this friend metaphor very clear. She discusses ways Exurb1a had been using this friend metaphor to reference her. Quote, "Your fans aren't stupid, and neither are your exes. A few who reached out to me are some of the most clever people I've ever met. One day they'll trace the friend in my poetry work, and then in your books, and they will find your modus operandi, and subtle confessions, and how you hid us in a paper trail. And then they'll see you for the fraud you are, that you tormented the woman you loved, and were so weak you couldn't even face her after what you did, and used your own people to target her." In the same blog, Pi pointed out that Alex told her in 2016 he'd rather be notorious than not famous at all. As his character Raya, he subtly references this very line by saying infamous instead of notorious.
I'll be infamous, she thought. Art herself will wince at my name after I broke into the vault of pure imagination and laid the coveted spoils of truth.
He's the ambitious artist who's obsessed with making art and falls from the sky. Alex and Pi actually discussed in 2016 how his obsession with art took over. At the time, Alex pointed out he neglected Pi due to it. In Losing You, Alex, as Raya, who says her name means friend, finally comes to the realization in 2025 that even making great art doesn't solve anything, because he's still sad.
She fell back out of her reverie and saw the flawless new thing she had put in the world. This object beyond all objects, the perfect sculpture containing all the hope and pain and love and shame of every being. And she saw it was boring, none of it hers, not really, only given by some power above. And worse, inwardly, nothing about her was repaired. "I am still sad," she whispered. And Decagon said, "Art is not for fixing yourself. It is for showing others that you're broken so they might feel less alone."
Interesting, huh? So Pi exposes very clearly this friend metaphor in 2023. Okay. So after she exposes this friend metaphor, Exurb1a decides to use it again in his Losing You video.
Aw, yeah, Mommy Pie, call me out. Call me on my bullshit again. I've been a bad little turtle boy. Call me on my bullshit parabola, I want it.
You're kind of a kinky little bitch, aren't you? Now, back to Pi's slow death. Next to saying that she wonders what will happen when Exurb1a falls from the sky into disaster, and spits the truths that he still cannot say, as we could just hear, in her poem she later says,
When I arrive late at night to bleed into your day, scream what I sang while drowning away. When you beg for forgiveness and finally cave, sing me a song about how blue is a wave.
Guess what Alex does in his video Losing You? He plays out Pi's poem. After Raya falls from the sky, Decagon goes to Pyrabola and asks for forgiveness. Let's listen to the bit in the video where he does this.
He said, "I'm sorry it took so long to come to my senses, but here I am. I was just so scared of giving up all my boring certainties for your fantastic could-be. And I should have, the second you asked me to share a new life together. Not a day goes by when I don't wonder where you are and what you're doing, and selfishly, if I'll ever be whole again. Because that's all I think when I meet new people now, how insufferably boring they all are compared to you. Now the days are empty, only waiting to see you again. That's what I am now, a machine for missing you. And every hour I get better at performing that function. My life isn't a life without your life next to it. I thought I'd accept losing you eventually, but I can't. Maybe you don't get over some people because they were your person. You were mine. I adored you more than I can say. I miss you more than I can bear. Is there any way this can be fixed? Is there any way you can forgive me? Is there any way, in any possible universe, you might be reckless enough to love me again?"
Now on to the final scene, where Alex sings his sad blue song that Pi asked him to in her poem. Exurb1a literally says at the end that he's singing a song, very clearly, and then he remarks that he cannot forgive his old self, and that he loves her, and that she's gone. And while at it, Losing You plays.
Everything was made with a hole at its center. This was how the wheels span faster. And what was the song they sang as they left off for forever? We must not belong to those who are gone, nor old selves we cannot forgive. We'll go into the storm as children, with only each other's courage for comfort, and all the great days ahead waiting to receive us. We will water the azaleas. We will cry with our friends. We will stay with the trouble. It will be hydrogen and hubris. It will be I love you and you're gone. It will be one more time with feeling. All these years we've starved for meaning, all our strength in quiet defeat. But magic always loved the hungry. And it's time for us to eat.
If all this isn't enough, there's another character in his Losing You video called the Moon. This character hears that his sister had fallen into the sea and drowned, probably due to a system crash.
Sorry, but where is your sister, the one you came here with? Down there, somewhere on the planet, the Moon said. She was always a little aloof. I'm sure she'll make contact when she's done terraforming. What did she look like? Raya said gently. Smaller than me, but much the same shape. Hollow inside, full of equipment. Oh no, Splosh said. Raya murmured, I'm so sorry, but she's on the sea floor. We found her days ago. What? The moon said. Raya said maybe she was ill or she had a system problem, but I'm afraid she's passed away a very long time back.
Man, I wonder where we've heard this before. Did drowning, the system crash? Oh, right! It's in Pie's poem, Slow Death. The one that he's been playing out this whole time and not giving her any credit for?
Object knees out of sync, prefrontal synthesis failing to think, mental crash, brain not found, recept me now, can't handle the sound.
Fun fact, Exurb1a actually used to call Pie his soul sister. He said that they were like two systems. She would be Mac and he would be PC. Quite similar to the two Moon characters, who are both systems. Pie and Exurb1a also joked about her being the Moon, so him killing off his Moon soul sister also leads back to Pie. Now, there are many more clues, such as in Pie's poem All Those Days. A parabolic arch goes over Pie's face in the video, resembling a U, just like a parabola is a U. And then there are yellow lanterns in a scene in her poem, just like there are yellow lanterns in a scene during Alex's confession.
Maybe you don't get over some people because they were your person. You were mine. I adored you more than I can say. I miss you more than I can bear.
On a side note, my own thing, I actually found the yellow lanterns one of the weirdest aspects of this, only because it didn't have any contextual reason to be in the video. If you think about the video, there's no humans on the planet, so who's lighting these yellow lanterns? You know, what do they signify other than just a reference to her video? In Pie's poem, she references drowning.
Some days you are the light I sail by, and some days you are the storm that drowns me. There are days when I don't want to wake up, and there are days where I'm glad that I'm alive, that I survived. And all those days weren't because I was without you.
She also does this in her poem Slow Death. And the drowning bit is what Exurb1a used for the Moon, the soul sister, in his video Losing You. So video-wise, to understand Exurb1a's Losing You, here's an updated list of the videos that you should check out if you're interested. I've even seen further conversations between Pie and Exurb1a that he implemented in this video. And some things that Pyrabola says to Decagon are Twitter quotes directly from Pie. They're a little tweaked, but you can tell. A very specific quote from Pie as Parabola. Parabola in the video tells Decagon that she doesn't know who he is. Pie said this very same thing to Alex in 2016 after their shit went down.
And she said, I'm sorry, but I have no idea who you are. Of all the things to choose to forget, I didn't realize I would be one of them. He reached into himself for the memories that were all parabola, knowing that up here he could choose to forget them as she had. But he knew that wouldn't make him happy again, only a miserable amnesiac. Are you quite alright? She said. Fine, thank you. But you seem so sad. I lost someone, he said, and I found it very difficult to be myself ever since. And she said, love isn't just made of the moments that worked, you know. It's the missing that person when they're gone as well. It's the hole that only they could occupy and knowing they might never occupy it again. But at least that absence is something we can keep. The evenings spent missing them are just as much what love is as the mornings you spent together. You took out a great loan from the universe, and grief is the debt that love incurs. And now you know. There, isn't that better?
And then there's this, there, isn't that better, that plays about 4 times throughout Alex's video. Again, something Alex took from a conversation that he'd had with Pie. It was something about how she'd recognize that it was nice to miss each other, but then also it wasn't. Oh, and I almost forgot. There's at one point where he talks about making the inner like the outer and dying before dying. Famous quotes Pie had tweeted before.
There was nothing left to explore inside. The inner world was just as known as the outer. There was only one last mystery.
Goodness, he even matched the colors and the bouquet circles.
Oh gods, there's nothing everywhere. Nothing everywhere. And Raya reached for him and said over and over, if you die before you die, then you won't die when you die.
I actually laughed out loud when I heard that dying before dying quote because it was so out of context for the video. There was no reason for it other than just to blurt it out. And the best part, I'm the person that shared that philosophical quote with Pie back in 2022. She only tweeted that because I shared it, and Exurb1a used it in his video. Look how things come full circle, Exurb1a. Interestingly, Exurb1a released this video Losing You on the 24th of March 2025. The days before Alex made this video, Pie had been tweeting about 4 circular orb-shaped objects. What an interesting coincidence, Alex. Either you generated those AI images of those circular orbs just days after you saw Pie's tweets just to do some more like coincidence bullshit, or genuinely something weird is going on between you and Pie. I mean, when Pie was shitposting on Twitter about AI years ago, creating her weed Barbie memes with it, Insider wrote an article about it on the 20th of August 2023. A few hours later, you, Exurb1a, released your video on AI. Perhaps your autistic soulmate can see the future. Or maybe the universe is in on all of this. Maybe you two are still strangely connected because you just refuse to be a real human being. Or maybe you did it to dick with her. Now, back to the clues in Alex's video. I'm not going to go into all of them because, guys, he hid many that lead back to Pie, and I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of making this into a 10-hour video which will delude my message to him. I am here to share something with you, though. Interestingly, on the day of its release, Pie retweeted a joke that said, "I worked on my mental health, and now I am no longer ambitious." I wonder if Alex, who seemingly watches her very closely, saw this tweet and thought she was shitting on his character Raya, the ambitious artist who's obsessed with making the best art. Either that, or Pie had accidentally predicted that Alex would be posting this video that very day. The day after Alex had posted his Losing You video, Pie tweeted, "Delete your soul from the internet before it's captured in an algorithm and you're forced to live forever." Then, Pie retweeted a joke from a thread about the length of a tall man. Some backstory: when I asked Pie in the past about one of the first lies she caught Alex on, she said he lied about his height after asking hers, and claimed he was 10 centimeters taller than she was. When they met in person, Pie found out she was actually taller than him. So this tweet could have been seen by Alex as Pie subtly mocking his height. 2 days later, Pie retweeted a joke from a thread where the use of AI was mocked. The joke was, "And cars are tools for you losers that can't run everywhere." Remember, Exurb1a once made a video called "Why I Run," about his love for running. He also got heat for using AI in Losing You, so again, these tweets could be seen by him as Pie subtly mocking his video more. But Pie didn't know this video existed yet. So we have these 4 tweets Pie made just before and after his video. The most interesting one being where she says to delete your soul from the internet. Guess what Alex did next? He deleted his video. I wonder why, Alex? Is it because you thought Pie had seen it and hated your video? Or was it because you wanted to create more synchronicity games in case she did happen upon the thing? After Losing You, Alex made an angry chess video that he released in October, where he gets defeated. Which would be pretty symbolic if he thought that Pie hated his Losing You video.
Oh, where's your queen gone? He can't even defend it. He can't.
It was around the time of the chess video that Pie had been coincidentally pointed to his Losing You video, and only then is when she saw it. And only now does Exurb1a know that Pie has seen that video, because I told him. I sent him a message and I asked him again to speak with Pie and make the video real. The forgiveness bit, and again he ignored me. He also ignored Pie, who messaged him publicly on YouTube. Now, if you believe that the clues that I've shown you are not enough, I've recently spoke to someone who's known Alex for 15 years and knows more. They told me that all of this is on record, but they wanted to stay anonymous, so I'm going to use a pseudonym, London. I'm not sure if London and Alex are going to be in touch after I reveal what they told me. London shared a lot with me, more than I expected to be told. Not just about Pie either, but about others who've had bad experiences with Alex. But I'm not going to go into that now, as this video is about forgiveness. So, on to what London told me that I will share. They found it very difficult for many years to accept the darker sides of Alex because they had seen him as one of their best friends. They initially questioned Pie's experiences with Alex because of this friendship, and they told me that they later regretted that down the line. Also, what I'm about to share, London said it was very difficult to talk about. They started to wonder if Alex was being truthful or not during their chats. You see, London knows Pie too, because Alex had introduced them. And as they were speaking to Alex recently, they became concerned that Alex was only sharing things with London so that they would get back to Pie. London told me that Alex might still be trying to manipulate her, so keep that in consideration when you hear what London shared with me. London said that in October 2025, They spoke to Alex a few times over the phone. He had acknowledged that Parabola in his video was indeed Pi. He said that he misses Pi and what he referred to as us. Alex apparently mentioned being scared of legal trouble if he were to reach out to Pi. He also supposedly said that he still loves her and that she's the love of his life. Strangely, Alex told London that he was afraid of having to pay child support for Pi's son. I found this one especially questionable. Pi is perfectly capable of taking care of her own son by herself. He's almost 18 years old now, and the kid is not Alex's son. London said Alex knew this, so he wasn't going through psychosis thinking the kid was his. It seemed he was imagining futures with Pi that would go wrong and thinking the worst. London told me they replied, if you are in love with Pi, then you should care about her son. Also, the legal system is not going to make you pay child support in this case, so that's stupid to worry about. You haven't even spoken to Pi in 9 years. But apparently, he kept going on about this fear. London said that this was all very strange and was very hesitant to share it too. They said that Alex was claiming all of this love for Pi, but not actually proving it. He said he had claimed to make this Parabola video to ask for forgiveness on YouTube. He was speaking to London about his feelings for Pi, but then he's not having any adult conversations with the woman in question. So London started to get worried that he was playing mind games and trying to use them to pass information off to Pi and mess with her. And I might just agree with London on that, so I'm here to call Alex on his bullshit again. And why? Because this guy doesn't say true things often. Let's listen to a poem that Alex had written to Pi when they were still together. She thought it was a love poem back then, but when we were analyzing it years later, we found out that it might be much more than just that. Listen very closely to what Alex says. He hits some very important clues about who he is.
1. Now I've seen the kinder sides of your ambition. Contrition came in waves, and all the dams are broken. Are you 1,000 miles away? I think so. I won't check. And despite what Google Maps will say, I think it's harder to know that. To know the scent of your face cream and your sweat can go long enough to forget until all that's here now is the things you left in my apartment. Some galwa, and the book I brought back with me. Memories. Sometimes I wake up and my arms are too empty. And I would like a transplant, or a loan, at least. Are you 1,000 miles away? I think so. I won't check. And all these things by accident, meeting, knowing, and your eyes are burnt into me. And I miss you. And that's a true thing. And I don't say true things often. But there's a time and a place, and it's now, and it's here, which is 1,000 miles away. But I hope I see you again soon. Because you're lovely. And the sun set all on fire today and burned the city up. And I wasn't that impressed. Not really. Because you weren't here to see it. You're probably 1,000 miles away. But I won't check. It's enough to know you're somewhere. And that I'll see you again soon.
At the time, Pi, who's Dutch, didn't know what contrition meant. It's the state of feeling remorseful and penitent. This poem was a subtle confession to Pi about what he'd been doing to her. I mean, why tell a woman that you're dating that contrition came in waves when you saw the kinder sides of her ambition? Is it perhaps because you were mind-fucking her, Alex, and started to feel bad that you were doing it? This subtle way of hiding who he is, he does this a lot in his chats that he had with Pi in 2016, and he even does it in his Losing You video. He subtly confesses to being a liar, phrased as a bullshitter.
Splosh said, maybe our wisdom only grows from all the hurt that came before. Raya wondered, had she made a philosopher or had she made a bullshitter? And realized she had just asked the same question twice.
And as Raya, he also makes this remark.
There are no friends, only people you don't realize are using you yet.
You know, you have a lot to apologize for. Trying to sabotage medical help for a woman you messed up in the first place is just one of those many apologies. Playing out Pi's work and referencing her stuff in a video 9 years later to millions of people is a strange and obsessive thing to do. Unless you actually mean it and want to make it known to her personally. Right now, this just looks like another synchronicity game you're playing, like the one you played in 2016. And that game put Pi in the hospital. And it even seems like you're using a mutual friend to make Pi feel like you really are sorry when actually you aren't. And that's just cruel. How about you make this apology video real? Actually go to Pi and say you're sorry so she can believe it. We don't need to be there for that. You can do it off the internet. Because only then could she take it seriously. And I know Pi. I know for years she's been wanting you to ask for forgiveness, and anyone who follows her on her stuff knows this about her too. She even depicted a fictional universe in her Dear Soren where Exurbia would apologize in 2025, after which they would publish a book together about Experiment A. And guess what he did in 2025? Just as depicted in Dear Soren. He makes this apology video.
All right, Pi, Master BulletBarry, call me out on my 2025 bullshit.
Alright, back to all the times that Pi has made it clear that she wants Alex to ask for forgiveness. She also asked about it in her poem Slow Death, and she even asked about it in her blog, He Was 5 Years Old, Alex. So how about you stop taunting Pi with your bullshit and make your so-called confession real to her? You know what? Talking about confessions, I guess I have a confession to make as well, Exurbia. I told everyone before that I was going to make a documentary about Experiment A, about you, Exurbia. And that documentary hasn't happened yet, and I will tell you why. I actually fell for your parabola when we were working on the video together. I messed up professionally. And it made it hard for her to keep working with me when I developed those feelings for her. But you want to guess what I didn't do? I didn't try to force Parabola to not talk to her therapist about me. I didn't try to sabotage Parabola's medical help. What did I do? I asked her to forgive me. And for years, I've been keeping a close eye on her to make sure that she's okay. Because after you messed her up, Exurbia, I couldn't let another YouTuber let her down like that. So yeah, everyone, this is my confession story. I just hope I gave Exurbia an example of how to do it. You do it personally, to the person who deserves to hear it. And of course, you can make a losing you video and recognize it publicly like I'm doing now. But if the person you're secretly apologizing to asks you about it, you don't run away. You speak to them. And if you don't, you look like an asshole playing games. Alex, your own community is calling you out, making memes about it, so maybe it's time. You're almost 40 years old, man. Stop being a coward. Put the bottle down for a few weeks, come here, little turtle bro, and hear my intervention. Let me just remind you of what you need to say to Parabola when you talk to her.
I thought I'd accept losing you eventually, but I can't. Maybe you don't get over some people because they were your person. You were mine. I adored you more than I can say. I miss you more than I can bear. Is there any way this can be fixed? Is there any way you can forgive me? Is there any way in any possible universe you might be reckless enough to love me again?
So yeah, Alex, this is your challenge. Be brave. Or show us all your true colors by staying in your shell. Maybe you like it in there. I mean, you told Pi years ago that you like it when people call you on your bullshit, so maybe we're just feeding into your masochistic desires here. Just so you know, if you would actually go to Pi and say you're sorry, I'm sure she would not cause legal trouble for you. Because she's been waiting for this moment for 9 years. On a closing note, Alex, if you decide to pull another vampiric YouTube story wrapped up in philosophy in the next 4 years, like you did with your forgiveness shit in losing you only to upset Pi, just know there's a very annoying guy with a long list of your bullshit still watching. I predict your next Parabola related video will probably be you moving on with an octagon. Settling down, having little square children, prove me wrong and make references to Pi no more, or prove me right and call me back into the ring. I have content for the next 20 years.
Oh, yes! BulletBarry, give me a sock!
But if you do pull this covert shit again, people are going to start to think that you actually want me to release it. That you want the negative attention. That you want to keep Pi emotionally hostage and pester her in little ways. For someone who tries to teach people how to be a better human being, you're pretty shitty at it yourself. Be better. Be Decagon. Throw off the Exurbia cloak and who knows? Maybe Parabola will remember you. Just make your apology real to her.